Today's story takes place in Las Vegas, USA. Akshaya Kubiak, better known as Ash Armand, did the unthinkable on July 16, 2020. But to give you a better understanding of how it all unfolded, let's start at the beginning. Ash was born and raised mainly in the USA. His mother was Asian Indian and his father was Polish American. Being raised by Bohemian parents, he and his two siblings were raised in a spiritual tradition and focused a lot on Tantra. According to Ash's mother, Ash grew up immersed in the healing traditions and philosophies of the East and West. They also exposed him to international scientists, intellectuals, poets, and more. According to his parents, he had an idyllic childhood, but Ash tells a different story in one of the episodes he starred in on Gigolos. There, Ash mentions that he was harshly physically punished as a child by his godfather, with his father confirming this indeed happened while Ash was training with his brother at a horse ranch in Kyoto, Japan. At 16, Ash dropped out of school and took an apprenticeship to learn the ancient Chinese discipline of Qigong. Qigong involves meditation, bodywork, and healing practices with herbs. He then continued on to study a form of massage combined with philosophy called Zen Shiatsu. He also worked as a model in between and eventually got his GED in 2000. Ash was well traveled. He worked as a massage therapist in Costa Rica and Miami. He also went to further study massage in Japan, Thailand, India, and Europe. Another interest for Ash during this time was the psychedelic trance community. Every so often, Ash would gather with a large group of people to eat magic mushrooms and dance to electronic trance music in the woods all night. This is where drugs became part of his life. Although he was not classified as being a junkie who injects heroin into his veins every day, Ash was more of the type who would take mushrooms every once in a while, as he believed they contained healing properties. His friends from around this time since came forward and all claimed that Ash was a kind, loving, innocent, playful, beautiful, and genuine kid. In 2012, Ash moved to Miami and started his own massage business called Akshaya Touch, with his slogan being, "Looking forward to joining you on your healing journey." It is suspected that within this time period, Ash started with sex work, but till now, this is still unconfirmed. He also became a father within this time period, but never married. However, soon, he would be headhunted by Garen James, founder of Cowboys for Angels, an escort service which provides men for women. James would also prove to be Ash's entry point into reality TV. Garen James served as a creative consultant for Showtime's Gigolo show and insisted that producers hire Ash to join on in the second season, as he had a feeling that this would be the perfect platform for Ash Armand to shine. And turns out his instincts were spot on. He was a good balance for the other characters, said James. Ash's friends have commented that his portrayal on the show was actually accurate, that he was peaceful and he was a healer. One woman even came forward claiming that Ash had healed her of vertigo. But reality TV, as it does to so many, changed Ash. He became insecure and started comparing himself to the other men. He wanted to become more muscular and started using steroids, and he really bulked up after that. His ego bulked up too. Unfortunately, his drug use would also increase, but nobody in his circle would ever refer to him as anything even close to an addict. Once he had a taste of the attention from the public, he couldn't get enough. Ash started a YouTube channel and gained quite a decent amount of subscribers. Showtime's Gigolo show ended in 2016, and Ash had to put his short-lived career as a reality star behind him. He continued to work for Cowboys for Angels, but was fired in 2019 for not representing the brand properly. At this time, Ash was living with his then girlfriend Lisa and teenage son in a split-level condo just off the Vegas Strip, with his son's mother living on the East Coast. Although Ash had achieved quite a lot and had made good money over the years, he was just as good at spending it all. He was always broke. He lost a lot of money on failed business ventures and bad spending habits and had nothing to show for all he had done. It would be in the middle of the year 2020 where Ash would meet 29-year-old Herleen Dulai on Instagram. Herleen Dulai was raised in California by an aerospace engineer father and a mother with 2 master's degrees. Both of her parents had immigrated from India. Herleen was the youngest of 3 siblings. She had shiny black hair with large brown eyes and a smile that could light up any room. She has been described as quiet and reserved around most people, but at home she was always smiling and would be mischievous and always cracking jokes. Although Herleen was absolutely beautiful, she reportedly spent most of her life feeling out of place. She moved to Las Vegas in 2017 and soon worked as a trainer for a fitness club. She had a few health scares and even battled a tumor. According to sources, Herleen was also battling depression. There's a lot of speculation around the relationship between Ash and Herleen. Some say they were romantically involved, and others insist that Herleen was Ash's client. Whether they were having a paid or unpaid relationship is unclear, but these two were communicating daily. Ash had, for at least 8 years prior to meeting Herleen, worked as a gigolo. He also had a girlfriend at the time who accepted his career in sex work, which continues throughout the time he met Herleen. All of Herleen's friends insist that she would definitely not be looking for a gigolo. She just wasn't the type. But there's no denying that in a matter of weeks their relationship had gone from casual DMs to something more intimate. Some of Herleen's friends suspect that Ash was only forming a relationship with her so that she could help him pay his bills. Nevertheless, she started to communicate less and less with her friends, and her parents were not even aware that Ash existed. For all her family knew, Herleen was doing well. Her sister started to get a little concerned though after hearing that Herleen had started taking snake venom treatments. According to Ash's then girlfriend Lisa, Ash and her would spend most of their time in the condo taking psychedelics and working out. She mentioned that Ash also upped his steroid intake, and as far as she knew, Herleen was just his client. Lisa also recalled that Ash and Herleen took a trip to Utah together and had a life-changing experience that involved a spiritual breakthrough that triggered a traumatic past event in Herleen's memory. Lisa remarked that Ash was excited about the breakthrough, but that he was stirring things up that wasn't his job to stir. A month into his relationship with Herleen, Ash broke up with Lisa, telling her he no longer loved her. Unfortunately, Lisa had nowhere to go, so she continued to live with Ash. Herleen and Ash were planning to meet up at his condo on the 15th of July. Before Herleen came over, Ash mentioned to Lisa that Herleen had a dark energy around her. Lisa left the condo in order for Ash and Herleen to be alone. The same day, Herleen phoned her dad and joked with him. Little did he know, it would be the last time he heard from his daughter. Herleen went to Ash's condo, and at some point in the evening, they took mushrooms and climbed the stairs in the condo, heading to Ash's bedroom. Ash then lit some candles, and they reportedly prayed and watched Avatar together. On the 16th of June 2020, at 10 a.m., a 911 operator received a disturbing call from Ash Armand, saying, "It's going to sound insane because it is insane." He phoned from his condo, and next to him lay the lifeless body of Herleen Dulai. Ash further went on, "I don't know if you've ever done mushrooms before, but I was no longer in this reality. I was in different realities, and then I saw the person next to me." Ash said there had been a struggle and that he had temporarily lost his mind. Ash then continued to tell the 911 operator that Herleen had a heart attack and mentioned her history of cancer. A fire captain and his team raced to his condo and found Ash pressing down on Herleen's chest with his phone by his side. His phone was on speaker, and they could hear the 911 operator coaching him to do CPR. What they saw when they looked at Herleen was that it hardly looked like a heart attack. Herleen's face was black and blue and completely swollen. Her hair was matted from all of the blood, and her ear was covered with a giant bruise. They asked Ash how she sustained such serious injuries. He responded by telling the police that she had attacked him, and then he attacked her. He asked them if she was alive, and the fire captain just said that the ambulance was going to transport her to the hospital. But Herleen was indeed deceased. Herleen was never transported to the hospital. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Homicide detectives were immediately sent to the house. One of the detectives mentioned that it appeared that Ash had tried to clean the blood up. They also found some leftover mushrooms in the fridge. Once Herleen's full autopsy was released, detectives realized the full extent of her injuries. Her body was covered in contusions. Her mouth was pulverized. Her gums were shredded. Her teeth were broken, and fragments of them were found in her stomach. Her nose, legs, arms, esophagus, brain, scalp, eye globe, and tongue had hemorrhaged. She had a fractured neck bone, a broken rib, and it was determined that the cause of death was blunt force trauma, with strangulation as a contributing factor. They also found MDMA, psilocybin, caffeine, and alcohol in her system. Yet her friends said that Herleen never even smoked weed. Herleen's family was shattered to hear the news of their happy Herleen, as they used to call her. Ash admitted to killing Herleen, but as soon as he got a lawyer, he remained tight-lipped about it all. Garen James, Ash's former boss, was contacted by Ash's lawyer, but immediately refused to be part of his defense when he heard of the crime. He has also mentioned that Ash's family has been harassing him, begging him for money to help, as they believed Ash to be innocent. Ash's 17-year-old son even phoned James too, and James agreed to send him some money. Ash's family continued to create a go-get funding site to raise money for his legal defense, saying, "Ash is being unfairly charged with a dreadful crime, and without competent defense. He could spend the rest of his life in prison." James further commented that they had even sent the link to the site to him, and that he felt it was despicable after what he had done to Herleen. A lot of people, and especially women, came forward, declaring that it was impossible for Ash to commit such a crime. Many still believed in his innocence and believe him to be a true, kind soul and healer. Perhaps this is the hardest part to understand. It's not that some of Ash's defenders think he is innocent of killing Herleen. It's that they don't think this makes him guilty of the crime. The power of the nice guy reputation must be strong, or why else would all the people support Ash? He admits that he was there and that he did it, but had pleaded not guilty. He claims that Herleen attacked him first and that they were under the influence of controlled substances. He believed that his life was in danger and acted accordingly. Herleen's sister started organizing her funeral 9 days after she was killed. She mentioned that her sister's body had to undergo 15 hours of reconstructive surgery so that she could look presentable for an open casket. On the 20th of November, Herleen's sister Armand spoke at Armand's bail hearing in Vegas as he watched from a prison video feed. She mentioned how much her and Herleen looked alike, how similar their voices were, and that they had an identical laugh. She spoke of her sister's gentle lightness and how horrifying Ash's actions were towards her. Armand was denied bail. Armand eventually pleaded guilty in September to felony counts of voluntary manslaughter and mayhem. He was sentenced to 8 to 20 years in prison for Herleen's death. Herleen's mother, father, sister, and brother all cried during their victim impact statements, with her brother saying, "She wasn't simply taken from us, she was brutally beaten to death." Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Dulai family, and may Herleen's sweet soul rest in peace. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to this channel. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think justice has been served, or should Armand spend the rest of his life behind bars? Till next time, stay safe.